Good to see you. How are y'all doing? So yeah, today we're going to be working on a new character. I actually already started working on the character because I had an idea for this character. I felt inspired to draw it a little bit, and I figured, well, it's like, you know, it's like 60% done at this point, so we might as well just wrap it up. Still not done with the resurrection stuff yet. That needs like VFX and all that stuff. And then, yes, I see Godot saying about difficulty modes. Difficulty modes are the next major piece of effort, but I don't want to start working on those until I handle like the default difficulty and figure that out. I saw some suggestions in the Discord that maybe you shouldn't be able to heal automatically after combat or something like that. So, you know, there's still some experimentation to do with figuring out how to get the difficulty, like the default difficulty, in line before I start stacking difficulty system on top of that. So, yeah, there's a lot of work to do, suffice it to say, but yeah. Anyway, the Alka Orders playtest is currently live for Patreon members. So firstly, head on over to the Steam page, wishlist it. And then if you are interested in joining the playtest, you can subscribe to one of these Patreon tiers. Upon subscription, you will receive a Steam key to your inbox, the email that you use to sign up to Patreon. And you'll be able to get access to the playtest instantly. But, of course, I have to mention that you do not need to support the game financially to get access to the playtest. The playtest will be available to everyone starting on Monday. So it's Thursday now, so we've got a couple more days until that. So yeah, your Patreon support is greatly appreciated. There's a bunch of other nice perks that come with the Patreon, like if you subscribe at this top tier here, I will actually send you a Steam key for the full game before it releases, so you don't have to buy it on Steam. So this is like a pre-purchase, which is great. But when that public playtest goes live, you'll be able to join it from the Steam page, so bookmark this, add this to your wish list, join the Discord, all that good stuff to be notified when all these things go live. And I'll just finally mention, too, that I've got my Udemy courses available for sale. This is how I'm making a good chunk of my income right now, so every purchase of the course helps. And you'll also learn how to build games in the Godot engine. So, alrighty then. With those ads out of the way. Hello, Scruns. Woke up on time today? Welcome. I did not wake up on time today, which is why we're late. I was up too late last night working on Alka Mortis. Avoiding working on difficulty modes? Yeah. Emerson, welcome. Nathan, good morning. You should do what you feel inspired to do anyway. I was just messing around. Yeah, I got you. I knew you were joking. So anyway, here's the character. It's this guy right here. I don't know if this character design is final, because I think I still want to add something interesting to him, besides the fact that he's a skeleton, but this is the Brittle Skeleton. The idea behind this character is he's going to start with 1 HP, but he is going to he's going to have something that buffs like his shield applications. So I'm thinking what he will get is he will get an artifact that prevents any damage from bypassing shielding. So I think Holy bypasses shield, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know anything about my own game. Yeah, Holy damage bypasses armor. So I'm thinking about giving him an artifact that not only buffs shielding, but prevents armor from being ignored when taking damage from one of those armor ignore source. So that means like true damage would no longer bypass armor, Holy would no longer bypass armor, poison would no longer bypass armor, all that good stuff. So that's the idea. So the gimmick of this character is basically he just has a really small health pool, but armor application buff. So yeah. Playing Arc Raiders. Maybe he can deal slightly less damage too. Yeah, maybe. But anyway, I've already got him all drawn up. I've got all the pieces and parts of him cut up. So we've got like his rib cage there, his legs. He's probably going to be the smallest character in the game as well, because he's actually a little bit shorter than the default character here. Just a little bit though, not by much, but yeah, so he's gonna be the smallest character. Anyway, I've already exported all of his pieces into the game here. So we go to assets, character, skeleton. So we've got all these pieces. So we will get him in game. I'm actually going to export this selection skeleton mockup. So make the placement of these pieces and parts easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the character scene first. Character skeleton. Scenes, character skeleton, save them in there. Okay, so we're gonna need an animation player for sure. Then we'll need a visuals root. Node 2D there. Okay, so let's do visuals. And then let's just bring all these things over. Just a pile of bones. Then we'll bring the skeleton mock-up over so I can see that. We'll just orient them like that, I suppose. Yeah, that'll work. So there's our skeleton mock-up. I will also change this modulate a little bit. So I can see a little bit easier. Okay, let's hide all these things. Okay, so arm left. We need to change the offset. Okay. Arm right. Isn't he just the cutest? Okay, so body. That was actually a good offset, but I don't like to leave the centered automatically enabled for whatever reason. It's probably a decent pivot point. Okay. Leg left, boom, boom. All right. So this one here, and then the leg right. Okay, so I think he's all in place. Now it's just a matter of reorganizing everything. So arm left needs to go on top of everything. Then leg left, then probably body. Then we do, let's see, arm right. Should that one be in the very back? I actually think this one needs to be in front of the body and the leg right as well. Yeah. Body, head. Head should probably be in front of the body as well. Okay. So there's our little guy. So we need to create a character resource now. So we go to resources, data, character, create new resource, character definition resource, skeleton. Okay, the display name is brittle skeleton. Starting health is 1. We'll give him some extra starting blood, and we'll give him some extra starting residue. Starting card ID, starting artifact IDs, we'll fill those out later. We want the character skeleton scene, and that's it. That is it. And then I think what I can do is I can do my ID constants generator, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, character ID here. So what we could do now is we could go to run save manager. Character ID skeleton. Check this out. This should just work. So if I go into the game now, we just make sure that this is not ignore unlocks, ignore save file. Yeah. So check this out. This should just work now. I mean, there's no animations or anything, but and there we go. He's in the game. He's so cute. So we've got our little skeleton guy in the game now. So obviously, yeah, like I said, no animations. He doesn't have any starting cards or anything, but it's just that easy. Adding a new character is just as easy as doing it. Isn't that crazy? Hello, Wuius, welcome. Good to see you. Does he have a name? Yes, Brittle Skeleton, yep. Short King. Maybe that's a lore thing people can discover for themselves. Scully McSkullface. Bob. Protein. Just, that's actually kind of funny if you had like a Necromancer game where the zombie, like the zombie sidekick, his name was just Protein. That would actually be hilarious. I think if Alchemortis does well, I think I am just going to lean into being the guy that makes Necromancer games. But I'm open to making all kinds of games. Like, I think it would be fun to make like just like a comedy Necromancer game with just like a bunch of jokes and like nonsense. I think that would be really fun. I like the design, but I think you need some bright highlights like the other characters, maybe glowing eyes. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't think the character's design is done yet. Like, he needs to have something extra on him. I don't have enough room for eyes, unfortunately, because his head is so small. Maybe I could do like a medieval reference or something. You know that game, Medieval? Doesn't he have something that like floats around him? Sir, what is it, Fortescue or something like that? I forgot what it's called. Medieval. Yeah, doesn't he have like doesn't the main character have like a sidekick in this game? Or am I thinking of that wrong? Anyway, that's a fun game. I like these games. But I was thinking maybe he could have like a little something just following him. So it could be like maybe a little bit more dynamic, where it's not actually part of the scene, but it's like something that orbits him, or like a little flying creature of some kind. I think that would be kind of fun. And that one could be bright, so it's like, you know, brightening up the character a little bit. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciated. Thank you. With the message, Yummers. Welcome back. Good to see you. Give him a top hat for Fashion Mortis. Hello. Oh, I already said hello to you, Emerson. I'm not sure if it's cute, but it's cool. He looks cool. Thank you. I mean, I tried to make him look like he's just very old, like he's got a scrunched up face and everything. Thank you, Nathan. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome. Good morning, Ninja Link. Good to see you. Necromancy visual novel. That is the one game I probably won't make. Hello, Budget Jim. Welcome back. Good morning, Malicious Rabbit. Do you know what starter relic he's going to have? Yeah, he's going to have something that buffs his armor quite a bit. That's going to make no damage types will bypass armor. Make his sidekick a ghost dog. That's a good idea. Milk can artifact. Milk can artifact, yeah. I'd recommend starting with Primeval Hand and Scythe and Skull Tower starter cards. Well, he starts with 1 health. That's the kind of like... His name is Brittle Skeleton, and he starts with 1 HP, so that's kind of like the gimmick here. He has a calcium tablet floating around him so he doesn't fall apart. You guys are ridiculous. You guys are ridiculous. Okay, so the question for you all now is, do we work on the animations, or do we start trying to work on that artifact? So we've got 2 pathways ahead of us. We can do the visual work for the character, give him animations. He needs an idle animation, and he also needs a run animation. Or we can work on the actual mechanics and introduce that new artifact and try to get that all implemented into the game. Skull Tower would definitely work as a starter item, that's true. So I'm thinking, Artifact. Will the artifact be exclusive to him or available in a run? Yeah, so I don't have a concept of exclusive artifacts at the moment. I'm trying to decide if I should do that for characters, like each character has their own unique artifact that no other character can have. But at the moment, any artifact I add to the game will be available for any other character to have. And I think there's maybe a middle ground too, which is that one middle ground could be like if I design an artifact specifically for a character, that artifact cannot appear in game until you unlock the character, right? Or until you start a game as that character. So that would be like a middle ground of like, there are certain artifacts that are locked behind characters, but once you actually play as the character for the first time, then that artifact can become part of the loot table for other characters, right? So that might be a middle ground that I take. Or we could go full unique or not. If it's the latter, I would say work on the artifact. Yeah, I mean, I'm designing the artifact for him specifically. I'm just not making it exclusive to him. So like that's what I did with the other character, which I'm still kind of keeping a secret if you haven't seen the character yet. But when I designed that character, I had an artifact in mind that I made for the character. But that artifact is acquirable by any other character. It's just like that artifact was kind of like tailor-made to support the playstyle that I wanted for that character. Make it as where you have to unlock as to win as that character to unlock it. Gives more of a sense of achievement instead of just playing a game as. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could definitely refine that stuff for sure. I think the middle ground you talked about was how it's done in Megabonk. Okay, yeah. All right, well let's do the artifact then. So I'm thinking this artifact. I'm thinking that this artifact. Let me set up skeleton, character, resource, and scene. Uh-oh. Git is being slow. So I'm thinking this artifact may do something like... So it needs to increase the shielding done or the armor done. Is this just not going to work? Hello? Why is this being slow? Okay, there we go. So we need a design for this artifact as well. So it's a shield-oriented, armor-oriented. I mean, the obvious thing is to draw a shield. But I don't know if I want to do that. Let's see. I mean, it could be something as simple as just like we do like a plate cuirass or whatever. You know what I mean? So we've got like... You know, just like plate armor. Although, I don't know if this is gonna... Just looks weird to me, that's all. Also, it's a little bit small. Wonder if we could just beef it up a little bit. I don't think that's right either. Something like that might work, but then now I'm too wide here. I need 3 pixels of space on each side. There's 3 there. Well, a helmet? A helmet would work better, I'm sure. What if it's some sort of aura shield or magic bubble thing? A gorget? What is that? Oh. That's cool. Or a bottle of milk. Rusty Knight's cod piece. Okay, alright. Chainmail, but that might be difficult to draw. Yeah. Good morning, RN Genesis. Welcome back. Okay, let's try a helmet instead. Let's see if I could do this without looking. The answer is probably not, but let's see. Probably a little bit too big. Okay, we're gonna have to look at a reference. This is, I guess this is not gonna be a good art day, but that's all right. Okay. Okay, something like that could work. Just getting some rough texture in here. Rough shading, try to figure out what the heck is going on, you know? Okay, that should work. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, I guess. Okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but probably work a little bit. Because what I want to do is I also want to do like a feather out the back. I prefer the name Brittle Bones over Brittle Skeleton. Okay, we might change it. Good afternoon, Celestial Beagle. Welcome. Good morning, Chris. Making new artifacts. Yes, for the new character. Looks like a rune helmet from RuneScape. That's good. If it looks like something else, that means that I'm doing it correctly. Might make this. Okay. So I think, I mean, it's fine for now, I guess. I want to figure out some of this stuff. We'll worry about that later. Can add a little bit of red into it, actually. Ooh, okay. I think we're getting there. The other thing I can do is I can add black into here as well. Oh, yeah. Now it's looking like a helmet. Look at that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go overboard with any of this, but proceeds to go overboard. But I think that looks pretty good. It's time for Game Dev once again. Yes, indeed, Jackie Daytona. Welcome back. Clean. All right, so now the last part is I just need to make sure not to fail on the feather that I want to do here. Which is going to be weird because if I want to have room for the feather that I want to add, it means that this is going to need to be like in the corner here, which may actually end up not being that great, but let me do a new layer here because I don't want to ruin what I have. So now I have to figure out how to do this dang feather. And it also has to be 3 pixels away from the edge. Oh, that's not going to work. I think that shape is good, but it's just too close to the edge now. Can I take this and just like move it a little bit maybe? 1, 2, 3. This is still too close. So I should probably fix this positioning first. So this needs to be here. What happens if I just like rotate this? Interesting. Oops. Interesting. It looks good. Thank you. You thought it would be a bad art day. Yeah. It's all right. It's okay. The helmet's haircut. So let's see. How am I going to actually make this work? Because it's supposed to like come out here. So it's supposed to come out here. I could make it go forward like this. Again, though, it's got to be 3 pixels away. Oops. Maybe I could make something like this work. Make this part thicker here. I mean, that might work. That's 3. That's 4. So I actually have room to do a little bit more here. I think that shape kind of probably looks okay. Oh, wait. Nope, I can't do that. Okay, that shape probably looks fine. Maybe a little bit thicker. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. So now the question is, can I make it look like a feather? Let's just do the basic standard shading first. And then we'll see if I can make it look decent. I mean, honestly, that's probably... I mean, I think that's serviceable. It's serviceable without going overboard. Let's get rid of this highlight. Let's put the highlight somewhere else. Can I just add like little pixels here and there? Yeah, I think that looks fine. Oh, but dang it. Wait. Oh, no. Okay, well, this is just going to have to be fine then, because that's 3 pixels, that's 3 pixels. I can't add anything in this zone, and I can't add anything in this zone, unless I want to do something like that. which could potentially work. But then that becomes a little bit too busy on that side, so I think we could just call that good. Could have like a palm tree thing from the top of the helmet. Would you have specular on a feather? I would, because it looks cool. I mean, without specular, yeah, it just looks a little bit flat. I could do something weird like add green instead of white there. Or maybe this color blue. But I think it just looks a little bit flat, so adding that specular in. What if I did a mix of both? Yeah. I think it's fine. Dang, look at that. Look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. And actually, now I'm wondering if I should take some of the lessons from there and add like red highlight to this draft here. I think that highlight probably works better when I've got a larger chunk of that dark purple, which I don't have here, but that's all right. Cool. All right. Well, I think we'll call that one good. So let's merge that down. We'll just call this helmet because I don't know what it's going to be called. Oh, and I have to outline this as well. Helmet, we'll just fill that one in. Cool. So yeah, the reason why, I mean, I mentioned this before, but the reason why I need to do 3 pixels from the boundary here is because 1 pixel is reserved for the black outline that goes around it. And then there's 2 pixels that are reserved for the highlight, the outline shader, because the outline shader is 2 pixels thick. So when I'm drawing the thing, I basically need to make sure that none of the actual colors, none of the actual pixels that comprise the image are more than 3 pixels away from the border. Otherwise, it'll get messed up. Dang, that helmet turned out pretty good. I have no complaints about that. Okay. Export artifacts, just make sure it's all good. Fair point, yeah. Maybe lighten up the base of the feather. When zoomed out, it doesn't look attached. Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay. I think that's okay because it's like there's at the attach point, there's like a shadow being cast on that. So if you imagine the light coming from this direction, kind of the top right, yeah, it's like this part is going to be kind of in shadow because it's being blocked by the helmet. So that's kind of why I do that. I do that in all kinds of places where when there's an attached point on the piece of art, I actually make it darker at that point. So yeah, I think it works. Hello, the Mad Dog Project. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I'm doing well. How are you doing? I think I see it now. Okay, good. Hello, Crappy Crafter. Your art is impressive. I'm okay at coding, but every time I try to do art, I get angry as it never turns out the way that I want. Yep, I know how you feel. I know how you feel, but art is a skill like any other. You will, if you practice it enough, it will become developed, and yeah, you just have to have patience, really. Just have to have patience. You have to know that, yeah, that kind of thing is going to happen. Like, there are going to be moments where it's just frustrating, and you just have to work through it. I mean, trust me, I've had many, many frustrating moments working on this stuff. Hello, Junie, welcome. Art is freaking hard. It is hard, yeah. Working on my portfolio a little, thinking about starting a new side thing to learn car physics. Oh, interesting. car physics are something that I have not ever investigated. Sounds hard. Okay, so we have the artifact done. Now we actually need to create all of the artifact stuff for it. Create new resource. Artifact resource. We'll just call this helmet. Copy this. Paste as unique. Edit region. Put that in there. So we need a name for this. I'll just call this like replace me for now. Description. So now we actually need to think of what the artifact is going to do. So there's a lot of interesting ways we could do. So this is an armor oriented artifact. So one thing that it's going to do is prevent damage types from bypassing armor. But I kind of want to tie like offensive capability into it as well, because there's an approach here which is just like buff armor that's applied. But I'm also thinking like maybe just make it like a physical offensive based thing. So I'm thinking like give any item that applies physical damage or deals physical damage a shield equal to the damage or something like that. That would actually be hard to do with my current ability system though. Got to simulate each wheel and suspension separately. Interesting. Hero's helm turns all health into armor. Interesting. There are loads of resources out for it. Plus, I already know how a real car works, so I just got to compare a lot in ways of cheating. Gonna bundle it with using dots in mind so I have insane performance. Nice. Helm of Confusion. Yeah. I want to do something interesting, like, What if you do two artifacts? The helmet adds preserve, blocking all forms of damage, then another artifact that reflects damage like a mirror shield. Well, I already have like a thorns. Whenever enemy damages armor, deal damage equal to armor damage taken. So I already have thorns. So that exists. We could start him off with two artifacts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Best helmet I've seen drawn on live stream all day, thank you. I always thought of set piece buff, but that's unrelated to this. Turning all health into armor would definitely give it identity for being useful to runs where you have a small health pool. So what are you talking about? So like so you mean like anytime you get a health upgrade, it becomes armor instead? I meant healing, sorry. That way you aren't making one overpowered. Yeah, I gotta be careful not to make one overpowered artifact for sure. So maybe it should be another artifact for, like... for preventing any damage types from bypassing armor. Maybe that should be a different one. All boosted. So this is what I'm thinking. So it kind of, based on what Jack said, is that any health upgrade you get, instead of being applied to your health pool, it gets applied to the artifact here. And then when combat starts, the artifact applies armor equal to the health that you would have had from your health upgrades. So let's say that you go and you buy a health upgrade and it gives you 30 health. When combat starts, this artifact, instead of your health pool going up, when combat starts, this artifact will just apply 30 shield, like, or 30 armor right off the bat. And so you're starting combat with like a bunch of shielding already, which kind of serves as like a temporary health pool. I think that would work, but I do kind of want to make it somewhat offensive based as well. So maybe we do need to do another artifact, because I definitely don't want to make it too powerful. I'm thinking the helmet can do something like project, you know, project an armor application ability onto every card that does damage, like physical damage. So it's kind of like an offensive defensive thing, right? So you're still incentivized as this brittle skeleton character to build like a physical damage build, because you're going to get armor off of that. You're going to get your defense automatically from that. And then there can be a secondary artifact, which is like any health upgrade you get converts into like armor applied on combat start or something like that. You start combat with armor equal to health. That could work. If you heal a lot with a small health pool, you're most likely already be at full HP. Right, yeah. Health becoming armor would definitely become OP. That's why I'm thinking, like, instead of it being based on your current health pool, it just starts making it so that any health upgrades you get in the future no longer apply to your health pool and instead apply to armor, right? Why would that be useful? Abilities can bypass armor. They can't do that to health. I don't know what that's in response to, but yeah, I'm still thinking like there needs to be an artifact here that prevents damage from bypassing armor. So like the idea is like if the enemy does holy damage to you, that typically bypasses armor, but now it's with a new artifact, it's going to be intercepted by the armor. So basically the playstyle of this guy is like your armor becomes your health pool. Instead of, so the reason why I don't want to do like armor based on healing is because like this guy is going to very much be about like your armor is your health pool now. So instead of getting healing items, instead of getting, instead of getting healing items, instead of upgrading your health, you're basically just upgrading your ability to apply armor. But I also don't want to put this character too much in a box. Like, I don't know if I want to just make it so that the player has no choice but to stay at 1 health the entire run. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking this one maybe should just be more offensive oriented. And then maybe just a secondary one that prevents. So here's what we can do. Because the character doesn't need to start with all the armor related artifacts, right? So this one can be offensive related, so it can just project an armor application to any item that deals damage. Then there can be another artifact that prevents any damage type from bypassing armor. Those could be the two artifacts that this character starts with. So it preserves that like 1 health pool. But then we can add another artifact that does that HP to armor thing that we talked about. So any health upgrades that you get are instead converted into armor applied at the beginning of combat. So if you start as this character, You'll get those first 2 artifacts that I mentioned, and then there's a chance that you'll loot that 3rd artifact in the run, and that's going to make you like a super powered like armor build. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Would Brittle start with both artifacts? Yeah. I mean, I can support like characters starting with any number of artifacts. In Warframe, bleed procs bypass armor and toxin bypasses shield. Interesting. I'm assuming shield is like an energy shield or something. Maybe you could have an artifact be some sort of blood shield. Interesting. They are damage types. Skeleton reminds me of the melted zombie from Return of the Living Dead. Could divide the health ups between health cap and armor cap. I think I need to see it in action. I don't quite get how it's going to work. Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. Okay, I know for a fact that there's 2 things I want to do. I want to give this character defensive capabilities that are related to the offensive capabilities, because I don't necessarily just want it to be the case where if you play this character, you basically just have to stack armor. I also want the player to have opportunities to do offensive things as well. So that's what the helmet is going to do. It's going to, since it's like, you're putting on a helmet because you're going into combat. So making like it synergize well with physical damage and armor at the same time, I think makes sense. And then we'll introduce a different artifact that prevents damage types from bypassing armor. So that means that holy, etc. will no longer bypass armor. This character will start with both of those artifacts, both the helmet and that new artifact that I just mentioned. And then we'll introduce a 3rd artifact which will apply armor at the beginning of combat based on the health upgrades that you've acquired. So if the player really wants to, they could do a run where they remain at like 1 health the entire time and they're just stacking all of these armor artifacts. I think that could work. Shield is the amount of damage a target can take before taking health damage. Interesting, okay. So I think I know what I want to do for the helmet here, so we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Well, not real quick, but it should be relatively easy, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, but before we do that, I'm going to take a quick, oh my goodness. I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll get at least the helmet artifact done. Of course, I'll need to do a art for the other artifact that I mentioned. So yeah, and I should probably write all this stuff down as well, so I'm not like not forgetting what I'm trying to do. Okay, anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes, and we will continue on. All right, I'm back. Sorry, everybody. Let me just do another quick little ad break for a second. Alka Mortis, the Alka Mortis playtest is currently live. So if you want to try it, you can join on Patreon. Either tier here will get you access to the playtest, but again, the playtest will be available for everyone starting on Monday. This is just a nice way of supporting me. I'm entirely self-funded, so every little bit helps. And yeah, if you try the playtest, let me know what you think in the Discord. I appreciate if you join that. And also, or you can, like I said, you could wait until Monday. The playtest will be live from the Steam page. So bookmark the Steam page, wishlist the game, join the Discord, and I would love to hear your feedback because we're getting very close to the game being basically in a spot where none of the major systems are going to change that much. And then it will be full steam ahead on like finishing up the content and the additional supporting systems like the difficulty system and all that stuff. So we're getting very close, but your feedback is going to be very useful and very valuable. So definitely consider supporting the game either on Patreon or by waiting until Monday, playing the playtest and sending me your feedback. Okay, anyway. Was my cat okay? Yes, he was. Fortunately, he was. He's got, I think I mentioned this before, but he's got heart disease. So every time he has an episode, I'm like, uh-oh, better check him out just to make sure. I still think the character needs to do a little bit less damage because it will have no weaknesses, especially after the bypass thing is gone. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible for sure. I mean, the thing about armor though is that it does have a turn limit on it. So each application of armor only lasts for 20 turns, and you still have that one health pool. So if there ever becomes a time where there's like a gap in your armor, you'll just die instantly. So I'm not sure it's going to be that strong, but yeah, we'll see. We will see. Snail Cat character, 9 starting health, 9 resurrection stones. I'm way behind on what we're doing. What are we doing again? We're adding the new character, and we're adding the artifacts to support that new character. That's what we're doing right now. The artifact that we're working on is the helmet, and I think the helmet is just going to project an armor ability to everything that deals damage. So that's what we're going to do. So let's do this. Private composed ability. Projected armor. I don't think I need any of this. We'll just do this. If base card.is owned by player, we'll return that projected armor. Okay, so projected armor. Let's actually do this. I think we can do projected armor is equal to ability. No, wait. Oh, you know what I need to do? Has ability of type. So I need to do if base card is owned by player and base card dot has ability of type damage. Okay. So this is actually going to need to be, let's just do armor ability, create ability. I actually don't think I need this either. I don't think I need any of that. I could just do armor abilities equal to ability builder dot shield I should probably just call this shield to be consistent. Let's do 3. Okay, so basically, if the card is owned by the player and the card has an ability of type damage, we're going to return the shield ability there. That's basically it. So the wording is a little bit. All allied items that deal damage gain 3 apply 3 armor. I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but the helmet, whatever, it's fine. Project settings. Enable test player artifacts on test player artifacts helmet. Okay, let's see. What are you planning on after release, though? Are you going full-time updating it, or are we looking for a new game? I mean, that's going to depend entirely on how the game does. I mean, I would love to continue adding content to Alka Mortis, but I would only really do that if it was selling well. I mean, if the game doesn't sell well, my primary focus is going to have to be finding a regular job. So if Alka Mortis doesn't do well, that will be my main focus. If it does do well, then yeah, I'll probably spend a good chunk of time post-release just like adding more content and stuff. I think that would be fun. So it depends entirely on how the game does. Oh, I need to add right. So this is why I had the create ability here. Shield ability dot set description prefix. Game const. This would have to be Helmet of the Guardian. That's not what it's called. Okay, let's see if this works. He is an undead skeleton, so it would be fun if he did have a health pool and poison heals him. So self-inflicted damage heals him. Guess that could be a separate character. That is an interesting idea, yeah. We're getting updates if he becomes a bajillionaire. The masochist. Yeah, that would be a cool character idea, actually. How do you make the description field so large? Is it a flag on string export? Yeah. Artifact definition resource. Artifact resource. It's property hint multi-line text. I don't know what it looks like in GDScript, but yeah, that's one of the export hints that's like multi-line text. And that makes the description field in the editor bigger. Okay, replace me, apply 3 armor, perfect. Gotta love the in development text stuff. But yeah, I'm basically gonna die right now because... Oh, you know what? Yeah, I don't know... Oh, right, I gotta give the character some starting items that are shield oriented. Okay, maybe we'll do... Because I still want to do that other artifact that prevents damage from bypassing shield/armor as well. But let's go to the card inspection tool here. Export multi-line is the GD script version, I believe. Gotcha. So shield, ally. We don't have a whole lot of shielding in here. I guess I need more armor-oriented cards. Well, we don't have a whole lot of armor cards. We don't have a lot of damage cards either. That's kind of weird. Need more physical damage, need more armor. Okay, well, shoot. I'm thinking we could give... It'd be kind of fun to give him the rusty spoon. Why do I not have many just like raw damage items? That's kind of weird. Giant's Finger's got to be one of them. Doesn't he have like 1 HP? He does have 1 HP, yeah. That's the thing. I don't have a lot of good options for this guy. We could give him the Scarab, and we could give him... I'm thinking give him the Scarab, or we could give him a zombie buddy. I was thinking either like, maybe like Rusty Spoon. Rusty Spoon, Scarab, and something else. Maybe a Skull Tower, maybe a more explicitly shield-oriented one. I just don't have a lot of options for him, so I'm going to need to make more items, I think. Yeah, Giant Finger would do nothing because it can't have less than 50% health. Skull Tower, Rusty Spoon, and Scarab, maybe? I will change that later when I have more options available, but for now... Starting artifact IDs. Helmet. Starting card IDs. Rusty Spoon. Scarab. Skull Tower. And actually, I can remove enable test player artifacts now because that's defined. Lots of small damage cards that applies lots of armor. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Hello, Quentin Brown. Welcome to the stream. C#. I'm using C#. And we can do booster. I don't know. Yeah, this might be a hard mode character, I guess. This may end up being a hard mode character, but we'll see. And the other problem is like he doesn't have any shield to start, so if you don't get any shield off before the enemy goes, you could just die immediately. Although I did win that combat, so that's pretty cool. And I got a health upgrade now, so I can use my money to get some health. And now I've got 31 HP, and I'm good to go now. I'm good to go, because now I can at least take one of those first hits, you know what I mean? And the spoon exhausted itself. Very nice. Yeah, this may end up being a hard mode character. Or one item with a 1 turn cooldown. That's going to be dangerous, because then people like Ninja Link are going to make like rapid fire. Give him the key for sure. Yeah, I can give him the key. Yeah, the mausoleum key. So he's going to have 4 starting items. Mausoleum key plus a new minion and a rusty spoon. Mausoleum key should be fast enough to get that shield before getting hit. Yeah, I think so, yeah. It looks like it will be. Oops. Did I just break something? No. Okay, let's see. Yeah, mausoleum key makes sense for sure. So I do want to, one of the things that I'm going to do with respect to the combat balancing is I'm probably going to inflate the health numbers a bunch. Because right now, like poison and fire, and bleed, those things are like very strong. And I think I'm at the point where like I can't really do anything to balance them because the numbers are already very small. Like it's very easy to get a good poison build going even when you're just applying like 3 poison at a time. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment with inflating all the health numbers quite a bit. So that I can keep the fire and poison stack applications low so that you could still build up like 50 poison stacks and it's not just going to like insta-kill everything. And then I'll have to adjust like all the physical damage and stuff to accommodate that. So the physical damage is going to go up too. So the Skeleton Warrior, instead of doing like 4 damage or whatever it does, may go up to dealing like 10 damage per hit. You know what I mean? I think I'm at that point where like that's the only way to really balance the other status effects that I have, because just, you know, having poison and fire which just continually do damage over a series of turns, it's just really hard to balance even if they're not proccing every turn. Anyway, I don't know why I mentioned that, but I think I mentioned that because that's going to have to, like, all the armor abilities are going to have to go up as well. You sure you like to make you balancing hard? Yeah, I do. I do. Stepped away for a few minutes. Are you still planning on giving them another artifact? Yeah. Yep, we gotta make an artifact where damage, no damage bypasses shield. Oh, I died. Well, I mean, this character is gonna need some work for sure, but that's okay. Okay. Anyway, let's get working on that next artifact that I want to do for this character. Yeah. Okay, back to the artifact. So we need an artifact that will prevent any damage type from bypassing armor. So we need a theme idea for that. Actually, you know what I'm thinking? Maybe this one could change, actually. So this one currently... Well... Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this. Ah, son of a biscuit. I'll make it work. I'll make it work. It's just gonna require some stuff. I have a feeling inflated health pools won't change a lot. There are a lot of different things that compound the problem we have with status effects. Nosferatu's tooth. Public domain, by the way. What are the things that are compounding the problem with status effects? Tent, veil, blanket, steel heart. What will this artifact do? Prevent any damage from bypassing armor. That's what it's going to do. So we need a theme for that. Interesting. Steel heart is a cool idea. A Nazar? I don't know what that is. Oh, it's an amulet. Oh, an amulet might be a good idea. An amulet of some kind. Yeah, an amulet. Longinus spear. Oh, yeah. It's a cool idea. Copy abilities, cooldown reduction, cooldown speedups, echoing, alchemy ability stacking, etc. Alchemy ability stacking, right. Well, I mean, I'm going to also change how the alchemy works as well. I think copy abilities, yeah, that one. Well, I think with the alchemy changes that I have planned, that's going to mitigate a lot of that. So yeah, I mean, when I say I'm going to inflate the health numbers, like that's going to be in addition to the alchemy changes that I'm making to make it less, or to make it impossible basically to like just create multiple copies of the same ability. As far as like, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. But there's a number of other balance things that I'm doing. Also, you know, there's a question of how much is the new resurrection system going to change the game as well, right? Because like, if you can't just like tank your way through a combat encounter to go and get more rewards, right? You may have to spend more time with your build getting like defensive capabilities. So that may have like an indirect effect on your ability to like massively create like status application synergies, because you can't just be narrow-mindedly focused on that part of the game, right? You're going to have to spend some of your attention and effort making sure that you're not dying. So I'm not sure if that will have much of an effect, but that's one of those things that could have an indirect effect on how you play the game as well. So yeah, I think with the alchemy changes that I want to do, with the new resurrection system, and then with the inflated health pool, I want to try those things and see how those are shaping up. See if that makes a difference. I still want there to be those runs where you can just like stack up those alchemy stacks and blast things away. I just don't want it to be like super attainable, you know what I mean? Enchanted Gorget or something. All right, well, we'll try that. We'll try that. We will try that. Let's see. I have no idea how I'm going to draw this, though. Let me look at it again. I'm just going to look it up on the other monitor here. Something like that can work, I suppose. Okay. I gotta draw some metal stuff again. That's so metal, bro. Bro, that's so metal. We'll make it work, though. We'll make it work. I think that works. try to do the same little trick that I did before. Add some red in here. I don't know about this one. Dragon scale. I already have a dragon scales in the game. It's an alchemical reagent. Enchanted Gorget or something. Hello, little ginger Deb. Welcome back. You could put a gemstone in the middle of it. Could do a loop at the back of the head, opening to with some highlights. Just a very thin, bright line. Another one of my ideas is in the game. It's my game now. Yeah. Please don't sue me. I mean, I think it's, I mean, it's fine. I hope I drew this correctly. Okay, I did. I mean, I think it's fine. I still expect my payment in McDoubles. That line in the back now makes it look like a bottle. Okay, we're eliminating that then. I mean, maybe it could be a darker line. Something like that. Looks like a potion. Is that better or not? I mean, I think the problem with the Gorget is I don't think many people are gonna like have that top of mind when they're looking at it. So it's like, I think it's gonna be one of those pieces of pixel art where it looks like something else until you like know what it is. But if somebody doesn't know what a Gorget is, they may just assume this is some kind of like potion bottle or something. And I'm not, it's one of those situations where I'm not sure if like just doing the art better is going to fix that problem, or if people are just like not going to know what a Gorget is, and so they're never going to see this and be like, oh, I know what that is. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those things where if you don't know what it is, you're probably going to look at this pixel art and be like, I don't know what that is. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's serviceable for now. I'm just not sure if there's anything that I can do to make it read more clearly. You think you preferred it without the line? We can get rid of the line, that's fine. Slay the Spire 2 has one. Well, why don't you go play Slay the Spire 2 then? I'm kidding. Maybe a pauldron. Gorgets don't. I mean, if you're suggesting a different item, yeah, that could work. Gorget. Is it Gorget or Gorget? I just assumed the G was soft. Every G is soft until proven otherwise. All right, well, this is, you know, it's serviceable for now. I don't know. I may end up changing this art to something else, but I mean, it looks fine. I mean, it looks fine in context with everything else. It's just I'm not sure that people are going to understand what that is. But that's okay. So this one's actually going to be relatively hard to implement, I think. Let's create the resource. We'll have to, let's do a replace me here. I'll give it a good name. At some point. Description: prevents any damage type from bypassing armor. Let's just say any damage from bypassing armor. So this is going to have quite a few implications for how my combat system works. Okay, so now we need to go to the board combat component. So I may need to refactor this a little bit so that every damage type goes through the same absorbing shield or whatever. Let's see. Is this all the same? Should we have Claude do this? We can have Claude do this. I feel like everyone who games knows what it is from the shoulder slot on RPGs. Yeah, Pauldron, yeah. Maybe I will because the dev of Slay the Spire doesn't sass me. Yeah. You can call it Enchanted Neckplate to convey the idea more clearly than Gorget. Yeah, we could do that. Did I spell bypassing wrong? Thank you. All right, let's see. Who wants to see Claude work as magic? In the damage method here, I want all damage dealt to potentially be absorbed by shield in the same way as damage type dot physical and damage type dot fire. I've introduced a artifact which will prevent any damage from bypassing shield. This would be poison, holy, etc. So the data flow through the system needs to be consistent. Apply a refactor to unify all these damage types while keeping the tracking. Okay, here we go. Claude was pissing me off yesterday. It didn't like that I renamed a variable without knowledge. Yeah, the AIs can be a little bit interesting. Claude is perfect for this thing though, because like I could refactor this myself, because I think all this is the same, like these damage dealt entries. I just like copy and pasted the code over and over again because it was just easier at the time, but Claude is very good at understanding like what the intent of this is and then like streamlining it. So that's going to save me a little bit of effort, assuming it does it correctly. Anyway, while my AI junior intern, unpaid intern, is working, what else can we do here? There is one thing that I want to do, which is, well, we'll change that. I need to change the run save manager back to defaulting to the necromancer here, I think. I mean, maybe not. I mean, that's just like a debug thing, but let's see what it does. Now let me read the actual file to see. Why didn't you do that first? Anyway, how efficient is it to delegate such a task to an AI? Wouldn't the effort be saved to be reinvested in checking the code is correct? Would it be faster just to do it yourself? No. No, it wouldn't be faster. Claude does all these kinds of refactors for me. When I know how to do the refactor and I know what it should look like, and I can read the plan that Claude puts out and be like, yep, that's going to work, it saves time for sure. It might be just due to experience though. Like I can read through the code and understand whether it's doing what I want it to do or not. So when it will spit out the plan here, I have it's not that difficult for me to just like read through the plan and say, oh, it missed a detail here, or it, is taking an approach that I don't want it to take, and then I can just correct it and move it along. But I do think that it would actually be longer for me to refactor this myself. And the other thing that's nice about Claude is that it doesn't make stupid mistakes like inverting the logic of an if statement accidentally, or it doesn't do off by one errors, for example. So I actually have more confidence in a lot of cases that it's going to be doing it correctly, because you don't have the human element of making dumb mistakes, and then you introduce a bug inadvertently and you're like, wait a minute, I did my if statement wrong or whatever. Extract the shield absorption decision to a pre-switch block in damage. Damage type switch. Poison, necrotic, holy. Yep, that works. Not damage context, ignore armor. So should absorb shield. That makes sense. VAR absorb should absorb shield. Damage context with damage amount. Okay, so it's changing the damage context. Remove internal shield absorption. Damage context, damage amount is now already in the post shield remaining amount. History is only created when damage amount is greater than 0. Shield damage is still tracked separately as damage type to shield via recursive damage call. Okay. So it looks like it's not actually going to streamline all of those individual entries, but what it did is it just applies that should absorb shield damage first, and it actually changes the damage context. Which is fine because I'm actually doing that here. So what it does is it replaces the damage context properties. Yeah. It doesn't have remaining damage. Yeah. So that makes sense. So yeah, it's a pretty minor change. I guess I was originally looking for a more significant refactor because all these blocks are basically the same with like one thing changed, but that can be done in a separate step. So we'll just accept that and we'll go on. I'm getting gaslit about the timings of the Game Boy by my AI right now. Yeah, I mean, it does hallucinate. It does do things wrong. But I find for like, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I'm having a lot of success with Claude, like understanding the intent of my code. And I think that comes down to the fact that I'm very verbose with all of my method names and variable names. And so like, I can be relatively terse with my prompts because Claude can infer the intent of the code from what I've already written. So like, I've had situations where I write like 2 lines of what I want to have, and then Claude like infers all of this intent in the file just by reading my code. And then it adds all of that intent to its context, and it knows the change that it needs to make. So maybe part of the reason why I'm having success with this is just like, I like to think my code is very verbose and it describes the intent of the code. Or the code describes its own intent, I guess, with its variable and method names and all that stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at this then. Should absorb a shield. We're going to get rid of necrotic because I think necrotic should always bypass armor. So poison and holy. So should absorb shield. If it's a damage physical type or fire and not damage context, ignore armor. If should absorb shield, we're going to get the absorbable shield damage. We're going to apply that shield damage with another damage call there. And then we're going to replace the damage context damage amount with the remaining damage. And then it will go down and it will just check, make sure that it's not less than or equal to 0. And yeah, there's only like 1 line changing in here. So fire goes away. It changes that 1 line in the tracking there. And then the damage amount just falls through the rest of these things as well. So yeah, I think that is a pretty minimal change. That's going to make, I think that's going to make that work. So now we got to try it. How do I try this? I might have to set up the training dummy to have some... oh, the training dummy already does holy. Okay, awesome. So let's set up the test map with training dummy, and we'll go in with the, oh, I need to add the gorget. I need to add the gorget to the character. Come on. Come on. Build faster. Go. Thank you. Skeleton. I use AI2 for free. There you go. Why not write a prompt for the gorget then? Where exactly is the line where the human element is more important than the efficiency? Where exactly is the line where the human element is more important than the efficiency? I don't know what you mean by write a prompt for the gorget. Gorget. I don't, but I think that it's not, I don't think it's an either or thing. I don't think you should suffer inefficiencies just because there's a human element to it. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have large machines for construction, and we wouldn't have computers doing our mathematical theorem proofs. I don't think those things are in tension at all. I think that efficiency is in service of the human element. Okay. Did that work? I didn't take any holy damage because this is exhausting itself. Okay. AI has its own mind, just using them for learning. Oh, for the art? Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about this debate is like, where do you draw the line about where do you draw the line, right? Like if Blender has a bunch of tools that like subdivide, your topology for you, is that removing the human element? Yeah, but it's removing the laborious and tedious part of the work, right? It's like, does a human really need to manually do every step of the process, or is the ultimate thing is like whatever tool most efficiently brings the human vision to life, is that where we draw the line, right? Because there's all kinds of algorithms that make tedious human labor like happen in 0.1 milliseconds, right? And it's like, that's removing a human element, but it's in service of getting to the vision faster, right? So where do you draw the line at where do you draw the line? That's an interesting question. Am I not taking any holy damage at all? Oh, dealt 1 armor damage. Training dummy dealt 1 armor damage. Wait. Okay, I need to figure this out. Is holy even working here? I can't tell. It might be a combat log issue too. The human element doesn't really matter because the player doesn't interact with the backend code. Art, music, story is all forward facing and needs a human element. Code does not. I do often repeat your earlier wisdom around getting too far away from the domain knowledge by over-reliance on the AI tools. Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like, if I'm going to use Claude, I do make an effort to make sure that I understand the plan that it's doing and that it's implementing the plan in the way that I would do it or in a way that I can understand. Retaining the domain knowledge is very, very important. I have a friend he's a UX designer and he's doing a side app and he's purely vibe coding the side app and it works for the most part fine. But there's a particularly nasty bug that came up recently. And it's not like he's not selling this app or anything. It's just like a side project, like I said. But there's a nasty bug that came up recently and now he's lost. His only option to solve the bug is to try to describe the bug to Claude. He can't point to where the bug is. He doesn't know how to do any diagnostics about the bug. He doesn't have any of that knowledge. So he's got this purely vibe-coded app that he's built with almost no programming knowledge. And now he's got this really nasty bug that he basically just has to like beg Claude to find and fix. And I definitely think that's a situation that you don't want to be in. For a side project, it's very low stakes. So it's not a project that's intended to be sold. It's just like a personal project of his. But that is definitely a situation you don't want to be in, a situation where the code, you just don't have any idea what's going on and you don't know where to start and you don't know how to identify bugs or identify the proper way of adding new features. You definitely don't want to be in that situation. So there's still the human element there for sure of like, if you want your code to be reliable, if you want your systems to be reliable, you do need to make an effort to have the required domain knowledge for sure. That's my opinion anyway. Is this not dealing damage? Do I not understand how holy works? Deal holy damage equal to holy amount whenever the affected board takes damage from an enemy item. Each application of holy lasts 10 turns, can be affected by critical. Yeah, holy damage bypasses armor. So is it actually reducing my armor? Okay, maybe I have too many things going on here. There may be another issue in my system that's not just that, but I have too much going on I need to see. Okay, so that applied wholly, so I should go... Oh, it's falling off before this has a chance to execute again. Oh, that may be why. I think the holy damage is falling off before anything has a chance to execute. Okay, so that would explain that. Let me change the training dummy then. We'll just make it attack more frequently. Because the holy only lasts 10 turns, but I didn't have anything on my board that executed faster than 10 turns. So if I put the spoon here, oops, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Okay, player board took 2 armor damage, so there we go. I think that is working. I mean, I definitely didn't die from the holy right there. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So you see I have 1 armor here. So I applied 3 armor and then dealt 8 damage and then took 2 holy damage that did not bypass my armor. So that is definitely working. So now the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to try it without the Gorget. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Gorget, here we go. Goodbye, Gorget. 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 Part of me feels like that's probably a French word. And it should be like Gorget or something. Anyway, so I got rid of the Gorget, and now I should die immediately. There we go. Cool. So that is working. Excellent. I provide my obligatory wall of text feedback after around 15 total runs. Awesome, thank you. Thank you, thank you. It's a little bit more complicated than a tool, though. A brush doesn't paint. Yeah, I mean, it is complicated. I'm not saying that it's not complicated, but I mean, for me, at least for me personally, my line for where AI is useful is like when it's doing a laborious task that I knew how to do already, that the only thing standing between me and getting that task done is just spending a bunch of manual effort on it. Whereas like, yeah, if you're doing like generative AI, like having a prompt spit out your art is not the same thing as like knowing what your art is going to be or going through the creative process yourself. So at least for me personally, like that is kind of the line I draw, is like I will use the generative AI to generate like concept art. Like if I can't find a reference that's kind of like what I want my art to look like, I'll use it to like generate concept art. But even the concept art is like it's kind of like in a pixelish style, but it's not perfect, and it's certainly not done at the scale that I need it to be done, and it doesn't use the correct colors that I need to use either. But I can use that and like kind of look at like how is it using the negative space and how is it applying the highlights and stuff, and that helps me get to a point where I can draw something. So it's like building customized references for myself to then go and like draw with my own hand. But like the code stuff, it's like if I already know how to do it and it's just going to take me like a half hour of work, I might as well just ask Claude to do it in 5 minutes, you know? Works by breaking into something else. I love how you can kill the dummy with necrosis. Yeah. AI has been mainstream for 5 years and Claude is already so smart. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess we will all collectively figure out what the heck is happening with all that stuff, but for me personally, in very narrow situations, it's very useful. Very useful, but, you know, you guys are watching the stream. I mean, you see all the things that I do by hand. You know, like, I don't trust it to do any of the gameplay programming for, like, how any of my scenes work, because it just, like, yeah, I need to understand how my scenes are structured and how they're working together. So that's definitely, but, you know, I asked it one time to go through and like replace all instances of the word. I forgot what it was. I don't remember what it was, but I asked it to go through and replace all the words of a certain type in description with a different word, and it's like, that just saved me a bunch of like rote, laborious effort. When I knew what I needed to do, I knew what had to be done, and it's just like the computer just did it faster. Anyway, so I think that works. So that Gorget works for sure. And yeah, this minimal change here makes perfect sense. I will stake my life on that not having any bugs. Just kidding. Okay, so we may also need to do some more stuff for this, but we need a name for the helmet. We need a name for the Gorget. That's done. Animations, and yeah, we need to do all this stuff. So the character's not quite done, but there we go. I agree it's a more complicated topic, but claiming that a tool is only something that requires direct manual use like a brush is also wrong. Is a stand mixer removing the human element from baking? Yeah, it's complicated for that reason, right? Like, I guess the problem with AI is it's not like traditional tools are always only used at the direction of a human. Like even a computer, which can like blast through calculations and do all this stuff that you could never do manually, it's still being done at a human direction, right? Like a human went in and like told the computer, here's how you should do this thing. Or like you think about a backhoe or something, digging a hole. It's like, yeah, you could dig the hole with your hand, or you could use this giant machine to do it, but the hole is still being dug with the explicit direction of a human, right? Whereas AI is kind of like something different, where it's like it's doing its own thing. Like, yeah, you have to prompt it, right? But then it goes off and does all of these extra things in an intelligent way that is disconnected from like direct human direction, I guess you could say. So that's kind of like, that's where it gets complicated. I understand that for sure. So that's why it's a little bit tricky to understand like where are the appropriate uses of it, for sure. Its pronunciation changes based on your peasantry level from Gurgit to Gorget. Gorget. Stand mixer isn't making art for you though. Right, yeah. I mean, like I said, look, you're talking to somebody that's doing all of the pixel art by hand here, so I definitely understand that. And I would not feel comfortable just making like all of my assets with AI. But at the same time, it's like, look, you know, you're building a 3D game, for example, and you just need to have like some kind of garbage prop in the background just for decoration purposes. Like, is it really a bad thing if you just type in a prompt, hey, I need a little pot, and it generates an AI model of a pot? Like, is that much worse than like going to an asset store and downloading a free asset, or spending the 15-20 minutes that it takes you to model a pot yourself? I think that's an interesting conversation. Like I said, I'm not at a point where like I would ever use AI for like the final art that I'm using in my games, but it's an interesting discussion for sure. Environmental ethical issues are things that can be addressed in a single conversation. Right. Do you do art with a mouse or a tablet? A mouse. Yeah, a mouse. I'm not I feel like if you get a tablet, like that's where you kind of like adopt the artist label officially. Like you're an official artist if you have a tablet. So I've not earned that that credential yet. I'm kidding, but no, I've never found a need for a tablet. Pixel art is really easy to do with a mouse for me anyway. But I think most people do pixel art with a mouse, honestly. I mean, I have a feeling that it would actually be more difficult to do with a tablet because, like, that's just me just talking out of my rear end, but feels like it's easier to be precise when you need to place a pixel at an exact location with a mouse than with a tablet, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I've never really used a tablet in any serious manner, so I have a tablet and I suck, so you don't become one, I can assure you, yeah. Oh, goodness. Anyway, that's going to be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, again, Alka Mortis is available for wish listing on Steam. So definitely give that a wish list if you're interested. The playtest is also available right now for Patreon members. So if you head on over to Patreon, if you join at any of these tiers, you will get a Steam key emailed to you for the playtest. You do not have to support on Patreon. Of course, I appreciate it. I'm entirely self-funded, so your monthly contributions are definitely helping me out a lot. You know, I am running out of money, believe it or not. So I got to get Alka Mortis finished and see how that goes. But every little bit helps. And if you do support on Patreon, like I said, you'll get access to the playtest, and you'll also get early access to any future playtests that come about. You do not have to support on Patreon, though. The playtest will be free for anyone who wants to try it starting on Monday. So the other ways that you could support me, just by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, following the Twitch, trying out the playtest, leaving your feedback, whether it's a single sentence or whether it's a wall of text, it's all appreciated. Thank you all for watching. Oh, Mr. Elliptic, thank you for the raid. I'm just hopping off, though. I'm just hopping off, but yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Welcome to everyone that joined, but unfortunately I'm hopping off right now. But you could check out my game Alka Mortis on Steam. It's linked below. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own synergies and builds with alchemy. So if that sounds up your alley, consider wishlisting it. And yeah, have a good day, everyone. I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.